Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Plot and Purpose, where we unpack the stories that shape our world. I'm J Rod.
And I'm Ali Myers, your co host. Today we're diving into some heavy hitters with special guests Ayana Cloud and George Barnes. We're all about exploring how literature and cultural intersects with real world issues.
All right. Sh- But first, shout out to Ham for supporting environmental intuitives and Frails for empowering in women's health. Y'all make this possible. Thank you.
Today we are talking environmental decline, fertility crisis, and parallels with The Handmaid's Tale. Let's get into it. I'm Ayana Cloud. I'm a journalist with a background in environmental science. I've been researching environmental decline and fertility crisis, and I'm here to interview this group on how it impacts today's viewpoint.
I'm J Rod. I'm just random guy here with hobbies like art, walking, and playing games when I feel like it. I was asked to research how fertility declines is being politically controlled by the government and the oppression of women.
I'm Ali. I'm a teacher, and I co-host this podcast, and I'm here to keep us on track. I'm patient. I break things down, and I want everyone listening to feel like they're in the room with us.
I'm George Barnes, writer and cultural critic, background in literature and media, which is studies. My work digs into belonging, technology, and the subtle tensions of everyday life, which is why Atwood's world feels so familiar.
All right, let's dive in. We're talking about environmental decline, fertility crisis, and the Handmaid's Tale. Here's the rundown. Iona Cloud on environmental decline and context, George Baum's on cultural narrative and control, Ali Myers on the science to fertility decline, open convo with our guest. We'll break it up with quickly shout out to our sponsors, Ham and Frails.
Today, we aren't cleaning up waste in colonies, but we are living in them. Microplastics, FPAS, chemicals, and air pollutions are now pervasive in our bloodstreams. The WHO says 99% of us breathe unsafe air in 2024. Studies found microplastics in human placentas. This isn't dystopia, it's baseline.
And we see this in the weaponization of fear. When fertility rates drop, states open shift from supporting families to policing bodies. The Handmaid's Tale nails this. Gilead doesn't fix the environment, it uses the crisis to strip rights. Look at the real world headlines: protagonist policies, abortion restrictions, blaming women for birth rate declines. Same script, softer costume.
Let's ground this in numbers. As of 2026, the global fertility rate continues to slide well below the placement level of 2.1. It's at 2.25 and dropping fast in high income countries. South Korea's at 0.72. Sperm counts have dropped over 50% since the 1970s. Research points to endocrine disruptors, BPA, phtalates, pesticides. These aren't just lab stats, they're in our food, water, receipts.
Whoa. So the novel's not predicting. It's reflecting open mic. What's hitting y'all?
I keep thinking about students asking if it's selfish to have kids now. That's fear talking, that's failing policy.
And art steps in where data feels cold. Atwood gives us a minor before we had the full picture.
The environmental and public health, we cannot separate them.
All right, quick pause to thank Ham and Frails again. Ham's doing clean water projects across Texas. Frails just launched free reproduction health clinics in 3 states. Links in the show notes. All right, George Barnes leads Iona Clouds wraps it up.
Our questions are from Mike in Georgia. The Handmaid's Tale's exploration of environmental degradation and fertility crisis, government response to crisis, novel versus real world, fear, collective survival, and individual rights.
All right, Michael's questions dive right into the Handmaid's Tale themes. I'll start with the first one. Atwood ties environmental degradation to the fertility crisis through pollution, toxic waste, and societal instability. Nuclear disasters, poisoned soil. It creates the unbabies, the shredders. The fertility crash becomes the excuse for Gilead's rise. She is showing us ecological collapse doesn't just kill corpse, it kills democracy.
And governments in the novel responds by exploiting crisis, controlling citizens, echoes of real world author uh, authoritism, terrorism. Gilead bans women from reading, focus reproduction, blames infertility on women's sins. Real world, we've been we've seen China's one child policy flip to three child policy with a propaganda. We've seen Hungary offer tax breaks for 4+ kids while restricting sex ed, and the tools change, the control doesn't.
Right. Fear of collapse can justify extreme policies, but The Handmaid's Tale shows the dangers of sacrificing individual rights in the U.S. Maternal mortality rose 40% from 2022 to 2024. Black women are three times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes. That's a crisis, but the answer isn't Handmaid's Red. It's clear. It's clean air, healthcare access, and bodily autonomy.
All right, wrap it up, Ayana.
Yeah. Atwood warning ecological uh, neglect has uh,
Devastating.
devastating consequences, but balance collective survival with individual rights. Regulate PFAS doesn't regulate uterus. Support families, don't uh, several them. The data shows countries with gender equality and environmental protection actually have more stable birth rates. Control isn't stability.
Okay, and that's a wrap. Thanks, Ayana, George, and Ali. And that's thanks to you, listeners. We are learning with each conversation and keep growing. Stay woke and stay curious.
You can find us at Plot and Purpose 26 on our email and Plot and Purpose 26 for all our socials. And you can drop your thoughts on Mike's questions, what real world policy reminds of Gilead.
And see you all next episode.